Most respected Dean Kumalur, Dean of the Faculty, Kumalur Campus, Agriculture Engineering, Dr. Balakrishnan, the Professor and Head of the Department of Food Process Engineering, my classmate, Dr. Pandirajan, distinguished senior professors, faculty members, and my dear scholars and MTech students. In fact, I was very happy to receive an appointment from the Dean PG Studies, appointing me as the external examiner for the defense viva of Mr. Venkataswamy. Because it is again a homecoming after so many years of life in this campus. This BTech, the place where you do your undergraduation will be always very dear to you. You won't remember it now. And when we were doing, a lot of stories are there because there's no time for all those things. Nostalgic memories of this campus. In fact, when I stand here, I remember this was our physics lab. Okay, it has converted into a beautiful seminar hall and a lot of things like that. But then at the last of that appointment letter, you see, you have to present a lecture on your expertise. Then I thought, man, see, then I have to prepare for the and all. It is a difficult thing. Uh, but then it was an opportunity. I thought I took it as an opportunity. I even requested the PG coordinator, madam, can you please exempt me from this presentation? Then she said, sir, it is a policy matter of the university. Then, okay, no problem. But this, I've been the teaching for quite a long time, but then now being the head of the department for the past so many years, and as Dr. Pandirajan said, we have not even three, we have only two permanent staff running this many programs. We are in fact, our domain work is mostly the deans and HODs will know is all mostly administrative in nature. So then I thought what to deliver. Then we have a business incubation center and we train a lot of enthusiastic entrepreneurs. We give so many trainings and we get a lot of feedback from them. Then I thought, why should not I take a few moments to explain something about the starting and into startup or an industry or an entrepreneur? Because I always tell my students that instead of going behind some government jobs or anything like that, let us be job givers. That kind of a mentality I used to give to the students. And then I thought I will give some points on these sustainability aspects in starting an industry. To the distinguished professors and many of them, many points which I am going to tell you, you may be knowing it's nothing new. I have picked up these things from many other places, but I found these points very relevant. So just have an overlook at how we can sustain the industry. So with this short introduction, let us go to the first slide. The food chain in India. Now we can define the food chain in India in terms of three A's. The first one is availability. Now we know that when in 1947, when India got independence, we were facing a severe food crisis. And the food grain production in India was just 50 million tons. And Paul Ehrlich, a famous population scientist, population expert, he wrote a column in the newspapers that India is going through a severe food crisis and Indians have no choice other than a nuclear bomb hit Indians and kill them. But then the government didn't want it to happen and they turned to the agricultural scientists. And what we saw then is a scientific transformation of Indian agriculture. Then we were able to transform the Indian agriculture. The food grain mill production in India has shoot up from 50 million tons to around 330 million. We are not only self-sufficient in food, but even we export the food. We could ensure every Indian citizen legal right to food. Underline the word legal right to food. So with this transformation, with this right scientific support and appropriate political support, with the positive response of the farmers, we could achieve this thanks to Professor Dr. Swaminathan and his team of scientists. And we call that revolution the Green Revolution. So, but then what happened is that we realized that that was the need of that time. That is, we have to increase the production and productivity. But then we have to see that this system is sustainable or not. We wanted to move from what is called as increasing the productivity and production to what is called as eco-friendly and sustainable production process. So that revolution we now call, you know that revolution we now follow the sustainability in the food production. We call this as the evergreen revolution. So that is the availability terms of the food production, wherein in 7.5 decades, we could increase the food grain production to 6.5 times. Next slide says what is mean by accessibility. The physical and economic aspects of food available for consumption. You know that India accounts for a quarter of the world's hungry people and home of 190 million undernourished people, which means that every third malnourished child in the world is an Indian. And you know, according to the World Hunger Index, India's position is 111 out of 125 countries. Though there are certain controversies in the way they conducted the survey. So, which means that whatever is a problem of hunger and malnourishment and in India. So then this is the problem that we always talk about eat right food, eat right. But do every Indian has the right to food? That is, that the food security is a question. We have unequal distribution of food in India. Now we can say that, see, this is one side of the coin, and the other side, when half of the population is striving with the hunger, another half is striving to lose weight. So this is the typical situation where we have unequal distribution of food in the food grain or food. So there is a challenge in the term accessibility. Comes the absorption. This is where our domain point. This is where the ability to transform food available for human consumption. This is the food processing, we can say. You know that food has to be processed. There are many people who are against. I will talk to that later. Food has to be processed. It has to be converted into a palatable form because it's in previous times we somehow wanted to convert the food so that we can eat it. But things have changed a lot over times and it is fast changing. So the food habits we want to ensure quality, safety, nutritional requirement, energy requirement to the required amount. We want to conform to the standards and at the same time we need it to be. So the demand or the requirement is very large. But then we have to somehow process the food because, you know, food processing is a link between agriculture and industry. But then here also we have challenges. You know, the post-harvest loss in the country is around 95,000 crores. Can you imagine this? So which means that 1/3 of our production is not reaching the consumer, it is wasted. So that is sufficient to meet the hunger or food security standards. So the level of, you can see, can you imagine, it is less than 10%, which means that it is much less than Malaysia. It is having 60% value addition. So this is again a challenge that we have to minimize the post-harvest losses. And this is the place where the agricultural engineers, the food technologists, the microbiologists, the biochemists, and all those in the food chain, food business have a role to play, that we have to transform our food system, food chain, so that it withstands the price volatility, the climate shocks, and ensure food to be available at an economical rate, at a most affordable rate to all the citizens of India, which will ensure a decent income to the food chain, all the food chain workers, including the farmers. So this is the idea behind this sustainability process in the food processing. So this is in short, what I said. It can be summarized with this, that I won't be impressed with technology until I can download the food to new generation students. This is the situation now. Now, see, this United Nations and many other countries have already devised sustainable strategies for many other fields like industry or many textiles or. But it is high time that they have already started devising sustainable strategies in the food processing. Also, we in India also, we need to devise certain standards, some steps to make our food processing feel sustainable. So why we process the food? I think you all know. I think I need not say why we process the food. The first and foremost thing is that we have to remove the pathogens. For example, milk, we have to get rid of this all these microorganisms, pathogenic microorganisms like what's the index Clostridium, the Coxella burnetii or tuberculosis bacillus. In the case of canning, it's Clostridium botulinum. In the case of toxins, we have aflatoxins. We know that the biochemists say that once a food is infected by the aflatoxin, it's very hard to remove this aflatoxin. So we have to have the preventive measure. Again, the nutrition. As I was telling you, we have the malnutrition problems. We have this hunger and this undernourishment problem. So we have to fortify the food because, for example, this omega-3 fatty acids, our body cannot synthesize it. We have to add it from outside. So food fortification, we have to have all kinds of nutrients. We have to have a balanced diet. So nutritional aspect, we have to process the food. Then structural modification, you know about it, food texturization, the texture of the food. I think I need not elaborate on that. Convenience, I need not say anything about it. You know about very recently, the most recent addition to that is the ID Foods have, they have designed and developed a product called Skews and Fry Vada Batter. Skews and Fry Vada Batter. You know what's the most difficult thing in the making of a vada? What's the most difficult thing is to make that central hole in that. So now, so this ID Food line is like this. See, your vada, your Veda. That's the tagline. So in this, they have designed a typical kind of spout in the packaging. According to the chief executive officer, they took 1 year for designing that spout. That's very simple thing, that it is typically designed that if you squeeze the batter that is inside, which have all the ingredients and taste of the vada, then automatically it will form a round shaped vada with a central hole. So this is the kind of innovation. It is the intricacies of the traditional art of making vada. It's a blend of that intricacies of the traditional art of making this vada with the simplicity of the modern technology. So this is the convenience. Now, previously, if I see convenience, I can tell you a lot of stories about it. The convenience is a very important aspect in this. Increasing the shelf life, improving the taste. So, but then, many people, so they say, mostly we talk always about the fresh foods. But then you see this statistics, the frozen, if you go to any supermarkets and you see the frozen part of it is expanding every day. The volume space occupied, the frozen foods expanding every day. See, the frozen food shelf life food market shows 3 to 5 times growth rate than the fresh foods. And the demand of RTE foods in the last 5 years, 150 times increasing. So we cannot stop. It's inevitable, the processing. The food processing is inevitable process. Whatever we talk about fresh foods, of course, if fresh foods are available, well and good, no problem. But then what about these people who yes and all? So food processing is a must. Now, see, this thing is that the industry in various, so this food processing industry, we have these various forms have to perform, and we have to make this supply chain and so robust that it reaches every part of the consumer, part of the country, and even for the export at affordable prices. So we have to make this food processing industry sustainable. And how to go about it, that's a question. So this so how to fine tuning the food processing market, food processing industry. Now next slide, yes, the previous slide. This now around 25 lakh food processing industries are unregistered, unorganized in the unorganized sector. That's a key point which you have to understand. But with the 7% of the investment in the plant and machinery, they contribute to 74% of the employment. And nearly 66% of the MSMEs are in the rural area. Another important, very strategic point. And nearly 80% of them, of these food process businesses are family owned. So if you want to put this industries, this supply chain into a robust, sustainable form, then it is very important that we transform this present MSME system to organize this into an organized sector, because it is linked to what is called as farm gate. You know, this is starting with the farm gate to the table. It's not simply processor, which means that farmer is also involved in. So whatever strategies we make, it will be benefited to the farmer also. The farmer's income, farmer's ability is his potential is also explored in this case. So this is what this thing, and this MSME at present, in the present situation, they are having their own inherent problems. Now, this sector, what are the challenges in the micro food processing sector? The first thing is the lack of branding and marketing skills. This when we give training, lot of people come with lot of in. They took great bank loans and start the industry, and then they leave in between. First thing is that the branding. Now we have, I'll tell you the certain examples that we have what is called as the banana chips in various forms in Kerala. There are different kinds of tastes in different forms by the Kudumbasri units or self-help groups, small groups. They have a lot of potential, but they fail in between because they do not have this Pakka functions. They do not have the quality standards. They do not even aware of what are the quality standards that are available, how to fill nitrogen. Even now in our place and all, you do not have a banana chips packet filled with nitrogen filling and all. They do not even now they are not aware of such things. Marketing skills, they lack all these things. Then the deficiency of the quality and safety controls. What are the good manufacturing practices? What are the HACCP which you might know about by this time? So these things are not known by this much volume of industries or enterprises. So these are some of the challenges, weaknesses in the system which you have to strengthen so that the system will become Pakka. Capital, many of them take great loan, and that put pressure on their movement action. Then this lack of productivity due to limited skills and access to modern technologies. Technologies are lacking. They have we have examples of uh, one of the industry, cut vegetables. Now, this very recently, I had been to one supermarket in. What happened is that one truckload of cut vegetables came in packets, and over that this shrink wrapping. And see, within 1 hour, it is sold out. Cut vegetables. Do you people still go and buy vegetables? I don't know this situation. Is it like that in Tamil Nadu? They going to the vegetable shop and buying vegetables. Then you bring it, you wash it, then you cut it, then you start cooking. But I think the things are getting changed. People are now going for vegetables where it will be washed, cleaned, and packed. You have to bring that thing and just cook it. Now, if I ask my wife to make chapati, I don't know whether it is still happening in Coimbatore or I don't know. If I ask my wife to cook chapatis, because if I tell her that I like chapatis cooked from the floor, then she will stare at me. What you are telling that you want to make? See, when I was a child, see, I used to take this wheat to the flour mill, get it milled, and then I passionately bring it in that bag, give to my mother. My mother will store it in these buckets closely. Whenever she needs, she takes it, she mix it with water, salt, and all those things, then make that consistency, the Brabender Farinograph consistency index, then this bio yield point, all those things, the rupture point, the gluten content, they know all those they without knowing the science of that. Now the exact mix, it's a Herculean task, that proper mix of chapati, the proper salting of that, and then make rolls, and then you have to flatten it, roll it, and then make chapati. If we tell these things to, then when I got married, then we have the facility that we have that atta. Then I bring the atta, gave her, and she had the patience that if we go now and tell the same thing, I told you she will stare at because 1 kilometer away, one Chapati Express shop opened. There it is a 4 rupees for one ready to cook chapati, 10, only 40 rupees. I go and get it, no other go, otherwise I'll have to go hungry. So this is the case of the cut vegetables. I told you now cut vegetables are available in mix. That if you want to make thoran, what you say, puriyal of different kind, you have that mix also available for sambar mix. But then there should be you food technologists have to think in terms how can you make this. The consumer has a doubt whether this is pesticide residue will be there in this or whether it is properly washed. Who has washed? What is the quality standards? That is where startups have come. They are selling like anything in urban cities. What is what is that? They they have a pakka very good environment shed this factory where they have all the employees in the proper uniform with all those quality safety aspects, and they wash it, and now they have introduced what is called as ozone washing of that. That makes it pesticide free, they wash it properly, and then they give a final washing of the ozone. So that is and then you have what is called as a barcode. If you scan it, that blockchain technology that you can see how these employees are making things you can see through virtual reality. So there are two startups. Everything is before you. This is the technology incorporation into this small business so that the things will. So when I said these things, I just mentioned it. So these are the I was talking to you about this, and then interaction, and then sustainability. So what are the sustainability strategies? This is my topic. The raw material availability, including water sources, important. What is the theme of this year's World Food Day? What's the theme of World Food Day? You know, Water is life. Water is leave no one behind. You see, water is so precious. You know, in the world, the only 3% of the water source is potable, drinkable water. And out of that, 1% is already in the glacier form or ice form. So only 2% water is available. And then the groundwater level is depleting like anything. It's a scarce resource. You have to plan your strategy such that the water use is intelligently used. How to minimize it? To technologies have to think about how can you minimize the use of water? How can you reuse this water? What are the other technologies so that we can save water? This is a very important point. Similarly, the other available raw materials, you know the story of tomato. Few months back, the tomato price, I don't know, in Tamil Nadu, I don't know. Yeah, it has shooten, in our place, it is a 120 rupees, 1 kilogram of tomato. You see this in the season in Madanapalli, Andhra Pradesh and all, where I worked assignment in Kerala Agriculture University, I was in industry. There in season, it's even now it's 4 rupees per kilogram, which means that 8 kilograms of tomato is required for making 1 kilogram of tomato paste, which means it's 32 rupees. Now, the cost of 1 kilogram of tomato paste is 60 rupees, including the packaging and processing cost. But still, it is much less than 120 rupees. And because even you have other advantage that you have increased the shelf life, you need not go to the grocery shop then and there. How much fuel you are burning to buy, going and buying, then you have to have the money for keeping it in the refrigerator, that refrigeration load, how much money you have to spend. So considering that these things, the price will offset the price inflation in future. So these are some of the avenues potential which you people can think of. This is what is the raw material availability, sustainability in the supply chain. I think I'm not boring you. The supply chain management is very important because, you know, if it's 100 kilometers and all, it is okay. More than 100 kilometers, if it exceeds the 1,000 kilometers, then it is the transportation cost will add to the cost of your raw material, your product cost. That is going to be a big problem because ours is not only a forward integration, but even a backward integration, because we have to start from the farm gate to the table, from farm gate to the processing center, and from the processing center to the consumer. So it is a great amount, the transportation cost, and so sustainable supply chain management is important. Technological upgradation and waste utilization is important. You know, this rice mill, we are still the largest producer of rice. So this in the rice mill, if you go, it is still 30% wastage. Even now in Kerala, even now the most of the rice mills are huller mills. They have not even modernized it to sheller mill, and therefore the wastage, the broken more. So we have to find ways of adding value to the waste, the broken rice, the starch, or the bran, or the husk, whatever. Maximum utilization. I'm not going into details of all those things. Then the regulations, quality, and we know we have the regulations. We have the regulations such as the HACCP, FSSAI regulations, and all those things. We have to the licensing, the pollution, all those things. Apart from that, many countries have started regulations, taxation on high salt and high fat content. We know that in India, FSSAI is requesting the industries to voluntarily cut it. But how to go about it? The food technologists have to think what are the alternatives for sugar. Now there are alternatives for sugar, but then the cost factor is important. Then sugar, what are the we have the nano sugar surface coating, but how can you reduce the actual intake of salt? Similarly, the fat. We have the technologies to reduce the fat in the vacuum frying technology. But then again, who will be buying the vacuum fried banana chips? I think the middle class family, it is still, you have to think of how to reduce the cost of vacuum fried chips, though there are many these health advantages to that in terms of fat intake. So this is about it. Then the nutritional security. I was telling you all these things. Nutritional balance is required. It is a so that we have to ensure 3 spare meals to all our Indian citizens with full nutrition. food fortification, because we were talking about this malnutrition, etc. Consumer preferences, I was telling you, is fast changing like a mobile app. If I ask my daughter, you eat the steamed puttu, we call the puttu and dal or this Bengal gram, she will again what you are telling. No, I hate that thing. So the consumer preference are changing very fast, right? It is like a mobile app update. But how the industry cope up with this market demand is a question, because every 6 months we cannot change the production line. So that aspect also we have to take into consideration, the consumer preferences and market demand. And also the customization of the product, that is consumer wants customization of the product. Now your requirement, my of the food, my children requirement, old people requirement, all varies. Now people want individual customization of the food product. You might have studied about 3D printing and all. I think I need not elaborate on that. So individual customization in USA and all, out of the 10, 8 people prefer to have individual customized food product. It will come in the future so fast that you want a product in your taste, in your fiber content, in your vitamin content, and in your form, shape, color, everything. You can go and order and it will come to your table. But now the weakness is that the capacity and speed of the 3D printing process is again to be researched. Then the food for the soul, you know that food is, you are what you eat. That's what you said. Food now people consider food is for the soul, for the mind. Even your character is defined by the food that you eat. So not the novel product range and value, novel different. In terms of MSME, I can tell you an example, the curry masalas. Now you have different tastes. From Chennai, you have one kind of chicken curry. If you come to Chettinad, they have a different sort of flavor for the same chicken curry. Now people are making that kind of masala mix. Chettinad masala mix. Previously we have chicken curry masala mix only. Now we are again refining it further. You go to the shop and get Chettinad curry mix, like that. So this is the novel product, and accordingly you have to change your production pattern. Convenience and taste and many people have, if a factory which is not employing child labor, that's what this ethical choice and brand. Some of the strategies which we have to implement. I think, I'm sorry for taking your time, and in short, this is what is the strategy of the points, but then this is I thought of sharing some information from my experience. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to stand at my alma mater and talk to you. And I had handled some classes in this, in the upstairs. We are the final year, no, final year upstairs. So when I was doing PhD, I completed PhD in 2011 only. So I had the chances to take some classes upstairs, because Varadaraju sir and Tangavel sir, when leave, they asked me to take the classes. So I had taken classes, but I have benefited from that, because many of the students in that classes went abroad. Mr. Swaminathan also went abroad, one of my students. He was the student who took care of me like a guru there in Canada also, when I went to do part of my research here. So I have benefited from this also. Thank you very much. I thank Dean Kumaluru Rajkumar sir and Balakrishnan sir, my colleagues. You can say my most respected colleagues. We were together in Red Fort hostels for 4 years. Now Red Fort hostel has changed a lot, but we had Pandirajan, we had interesting times there. Thank you very much.